outpatient, inpatient, ED. We've got to teach stuff better. We've got to use patients, we've got to cultivate their voice at every single step of their experience because we are serving them. This is service. We should celebrate our shared humanity, our shared humanity, the humanity that we share across the divide, the person you're dispensing to, the person I'm prescribing to, the person I'm auscultating, the person I'm diagnosing. They're a person too, and we share much more in common than we do differences, but we've been taught to alienate that. We've been taught to keep that out of the relationship, and it's stupid because people want it, and that's what they value. And they get better the more you understand them. They take their medications more consistently the more you understand them. It's not rocket science. We should be crediting skills that matter, not just the technical knowledge. Compassion needs to be everywhere because we have to combat a system that's trying to erode it. And we've got to do something about power. Power is a problem in healthcare. And I'm going to end with this example. So, I'm an anesthetics student, final year. I'm about to become a doctor, right? I get placed at a fancy hospital, which I'm not going to name, but it is fancy. It's a centre of excellence for surgery. But I'm an anaesthetics, so the surgery bit has never interested me, and it especially didn't interest me that day. I get in at 7 a.m. like a good anaesthetic student, start cannulating, and I'm partnered with a surgeon who does an extraordinary surgery very well over and over again. And people from around the world come to have it done, and people from around the world come to train under them. And we've got 9 people that day. We're just going to do the same thing over and over again. And the anaesthetist, the actual qualified person, is bouncing between 2 theatres. So often I'm the only anaesthetist in the room. Being tall in theatre, I'm quite handy for the lights, and so that gets drawn out pretty quickly. And I'm down the head end, so I get to adjust the tilt of the table. I'm wheeling people in and out, I'm wiping down surfaces, putting people to sleep, waking them up. The surgeon doesn't talk at all, the whole day except for once. He stops the procedure suddenly. There's an assistant. And he rattles off a whole bunch of surgical steps, which I don't understand. And then at the end of it, it goes for like 40 seconds. At the end of it, he stops and says, and if none of that makes sense, you can get out now. To the person who's travelled from an unnamed European country to study under them. Now, this is in contrast to how they are with patients. Beautiful. Kind eyes, gentle smile, appropriate hand holding when necessary, giving time for questions, giving things in multiple formats, answering partners' questions, elevating their agency, delicious stuff, but not with us. And it's not like it's a busy theatre. It's him, an assistant, a couple of nurses, me and the anaesthetist bouncing between. And we do 9 of these cases. The last one is a middle-aged woman. She comes in, she has the procedure, she goes out. Because she's the last one, I take her into recovery. I'm in recovery. The recovery nurse is teaching me about IV lines and how to get bubbles out of them, which terrifies me still, although I shouldn't. And the surgeon appears with their entourage, all these other people, minions underneath them, in a white jacket, and approaches the bed. And I'm holding the little barrier on the side. And I look at him, and instead of seeing the cranky, grunty, still face that I'd seen all day in theatre, I see the patient-facing one. The gentle smile, the soft eyes, the lovely one. And even more confusingly, he walks over and he puts his hand on top of mine. And now I'm gripping the bed very tightly. And my heart is beating very fast. And I feel like my head's on fire. And I look to the recovery nurse who's conveniently found something to do on the other side of the room. And he says to me, "You should be very proud. She did extremely well today." And it takes me a good 10 seconds to work out what's going on. He thinks I'm her husband. And and she's asleep, thank God. Because this would have got worse had she been awake. And I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do. And my mind goes back to the deer. And I'm sitting there at the banquet table all those years ago, and I've got a shot glass of deer wine. And I've got to work out whether I drink it or whether I turn it down, whether I acquiesce or I humiliate. But that's not me anymore. Now I'm in the system. Now I'm one of them. And so I go, fuck it. I have to do this. And so I look him back in those kind eyes and I say, do you know what? I am very proud of her. She's great. And I want it to be over. But it's not over. And the nurse is still busy in the corner of the room. And I look to the entourage behind him and I get nothing. Not even a smirk. They all know I'm not her husband. Everybody in this room knows I'm not her husband. Except the patient who's asleep and the surgeon. And he's looking at me still, and I'm getting even more panicked because I don't know where this ends. And he says, are you going to be okay when you get home? Do you have enough support? And I say, oh, we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. His hand's on mine. Don't worry about us. And that is over. Right, I'm out of this thing, and he signals somehow to the entourage, I don't speak surgery, and they know it's time to go. And he looks over his shoulder down the hall and he says, I'll see you in my rooms in three to 4 weeks. Now, this is preposterous on all levels. Let's just go through how preposterous it is. So, as I've already stated, I'm 2 meters tall, right? I'm hard to miss. 2, I've been in his theatre all day. 3, at this particular hospital, they make the med students wear bright red caps because we're super dangerous. And I had my bright red cap on. I was wearing scrubs. I had a name badge with all caps that says student. Like, beware, they're around. And I'm in recovery, where we do not let family run around because bad shit happens. Ridiculous. And no one said a thing. And I didn't say a thing. Because my term depended on it. The people behind him, their references depended on it. The nurse had obviously had run-ins before. There is so much low-hanging fruit to address in healthcare. And it's something that we all have a role in fixing. Thank you.
Dr. Ben Bravery, everyone. Give him another big round of applause. Thank you, Ben.